But first, I'm happy to welcome Dan Bindert back to the show, who we can always count on to keep us informed on all things jazz.
Hi, Diana.
How are you?
Great to be with you.
Great to have you. So we have a great lineup that you've created for us this year.
We're excited about it. I mean, the Lakeside Pavilion concerts are always so much fun. It's such a beautiful venue, and I understand there's even better food options this year.
There's a lot of food options this year.
That's going to be great. And then with the Thursday night series that we do at WDCB that we combine with the MAC on for these concerts, we've got 3 really good ones again, I think, this year. 2 jazz concerts and then a blues concert. So it's going to open up on July 26th with the Chicago Jazz Orchestra.
Who's awesome.
They are incredible. Them. So we had them, I think it was 2 years ago for one of the summer concerts, and they were incredible. They're for people who haven't heard the Chicago Jazz Orchestra before. A lot of people know, say, Wynton Marsalis and the Lincoln Center Jazz Orchestra. It's like the big jazz orchestra from New York. Well, in Chicago, our equivalent is the Chicago Jazz Orchestra. It's this group of world-class musicians. Most of them lead their own bands when they're not playing with the orchestra. They're really high-level people, recording artists that all fill that band. So it's a super high-level band. They've played at places like the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. for major jazz events, and they're going to be teaming up for this concert with Randy Brecker, who's at this point really one of the living legends of jazz trumpet. So
awesome.
It's going to be great.
Well, and they always feature somebody for their show that they sort of work around. That's why I like that every show's always a little bit different.
Exactly.
You're never seeing the same show twice. So if you've seen them before, you're not seeing this show.
Not at all. Yeah, it's going to be a completely new thing than anything you've seen with the Chicago Jazz Orchestra before, if you've seen that band. And it's not a typical big band show. It's a big band that plays wonderful swinging jazz, but it's not like a throwback nostalgia retro kind of thing. It's real, vital jazz music of today right now. And Randy Brecker, as the person who's going to be spotlighted for this, is one of those people that even if you don't know the name, you may have heard him because he's played on hundreds of important studio recordings over the years. Say Steely Dan, you've heard Randy Brecker playing trumpet with them, but he was also part of a band in the 70s called the Brecker Brothers. It was a real popular jazz funk kind of group. He played with the jazz legend Horace Silver. He was a part of his band at various points over the years. And he's one of those people who's just played with everybody. Incredible trumpet player and a real legend, along with the Chicago Jazz Orchestra.
And Chicago is known for jazz. I mean,
certainly.
We're the home of jazz. So it's kind of exciting that we have all these legendary artists right here that we can draw from.
It is. It's great that we're able to have them out here at COD and at the Lakeside Pavilion. I mean, you're talking about a real world-class group of musicians, and you get to go out and see them for free under the stars. It's going to be beautiful.
This year we have one new thing where we're asking people not to come until 6. We're not going to open the park till 6, so I just want to make sure everybody knows that. For security reasons, to make sure that we can check everyone in and have a proper sound check without the park full and all of that.
I think some people like to get there so they can just look at the fountain on the lake.
I think so too.
Before the
it's
show.
A beautiful night.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful night. So after Chicago Jazz, we have Frank Russell.
Yeah, so Frank Russell, he is an electric bass player. For a lot of people that maybe haven't heard him before, he's played on the road with a lot of big-name people. He was part of Ramsey Lewis's band at various times over the years. But Frank is one of these guys, typically in jazz music, or a lot of the jazz that people hear on WDCB, they might be used to hearing an acoustic stand-up, big, tall bass. But at the same time, there's since the 1970s, there have been a whole string of these great bass players. Stanley Clarke would be one, and Jaco Pastorius in the 1970s, and Marcus Miller, who really made the electric bass guitar, and in Frank Russell's case, he plays a 5-string electric bass, into an instrument that almost is like a lead guitar type instrument, where they play it with the facility of a lead guitarist. It's not just a band bass player standing in the back helping to keep the time for the band. So he's really a true artist of the bass, and he's got this all-star Chicago band with him. It's going to be a 10-piece band with the great vocalist Dee Alexander, who's
huge.
She's incredible. Yep, she's kind of like Chicago's Sarah Vaughan at this point. I mean, she's really wonderful. But she's going to be a part of it. trumpeter named Corey Wilkes, who's
It's going to be awesome.
yeah, great trumpet player from Chicago, Henry Johnson, a great guitar player, and Bobby Irving, who plays keyboards. He used to be the musical director for Miles Davis in the 1980s. So
how do you keep all this stuff straight? How do you keep all these facts in your head?
I'm just a music nerd, I guess. That's
great. I mean,
but it's
amazing
fun.
how much
we all
you
love
know.
the music.
It's like you know all the details, but that's why I love having you on the show, because you help people to appreciate what they're seeing.
Well, it's fun. All of us at WDCB, we're lucky to be able to be involved with music every day. So it's something we all have a big passion for.
Well, we have one last show of the summer, Joe Walker.
So yeah, Joe Louis Walker is this wonderful guitar player. He's actually in the Blues Hall of Fame. He was inducted in 2013. And he has been up for various Grammys over the years. He's won lots of Blues Music Awards, which is Blues World's sort of big award every year. He's won tons of those. And his thing is that for people who say, probably the easiest reference point for people who don't know Joe Louis Walker would be Robert Cray. So when Robert Cray came out in the 1980s, he really pioneered a new style of blues that brought in modern soul music and some rock elements and brought that together with great blues singing and original songwriting and great guitar playing. And Joe Louis Walker was Robert Cray's label mate at a label called High Tone Records out in California in the 80s that brought both of these guys along at the same time. And so they were kind of on similar tracks, but he's not a Robert Cray wannabe. He's his own man, really fiery guitar player. He's done probably 25 albums now over the years since the 80s, and just really incredible singer, great original tunes. And he's going to have a full band with a horn section and the whole deal. So it's going to be exciting and fun. Yeah.
So Dan, what else does WDCB have in store for this summer? I know you do Jazz Glen Ellyn.
Yeah,
right?
the summer is almost our busiest time at WDCB. We're involved in Jazz Up Glen Ellyn is a real big one. Downtown Glen Ellyn, where they shut off the street and about 5,000-6,000 people come out all day long on a Saturday. That's in mid-July. I believe it's the 15th of July, if I've got my dates correct. But it's going to be this year an all Brazilian jazz program, an entire day put together by the guitarist Fareed Haq, who's sort of the creative director of that event.
Yes.
But we always have some involvement in that, and that is a lot of fun. It's just been beautiful the last couple of years.
And I know you have a big fundraiser coming up that everyone can participate with all summer long.
That's right. Well, we have our pledge drive. We usually do a big pledge drive in the fall and a big pledge drive in the spring, because the listeners that donate to WDCB, they're really the biggest part of our budget. It comes right from our listeners. And in June, we usually do a pledge drive for about 3 days or 3 or 4 days. This year, instead of 3 or 4 days, we're going to boil it all down to 26 hours and do a pledge marathon that's going to lead into the first day of summer.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I hope you raise it all.
I hope so.
But if they don't get that 24-hour fundraiser right in, people can always donate to WDCB online.
Yep, WDCB.org. There's a little donate button they click.
Perfect.
And they can do it that way too.
Dan, thank you so much for coming on the show to tell us all about all these exciting things happening this summer.
Hey, you're welcome, and thank you, Diana. Can't wait for all those summer concerts.
Me either. Be sure to stop by the Lakeside Pavilion this summer for one of these great free concerts. For more information on the summer series and for the entire schedule, please visit atthemac.org/lakeside, or to donate to WDCB, visit WDCB.org. It may be summer, but there is still some great college programming planned. Opening on July 5th and running through July 15th is this summer's college theater musical, The Addams Family. Then, on July 14th and 15th, stop by the Lakeside Pavilion for a free evening of family fun with college theater's imaginative and improvisational show, Goldie's Next Big Adventure. Mark your calendar for July 28th, when the College of DuPage Dance Department will hold their 4th annual choreography showcase.